But I need to have a mindset where I'm still present and here. Otherwise,
Mm.
it's almost, comparative to dare I say prison.
Welcome back to Teacher Tales, where we give you the keys to overcoming teacher burnout to find work life balance and educational bliss if it still exists. I'm your host, Tony Rambles, and on this episode of Teacher Tales, me and Jame walk through the strategies for setting realistic goals for the end of the year by making a plan, minding your plan, and celebrating. There are plenty of ideas here to help you beat burnout and end the year on a high note.
I know.
Okay, Jen, welcome back.
Good to be here.
It's always great to have you on. My partner, Jen, who we have started an excellent Facebook group. So, shameless plug here right at the beginning. Teacher Triumphs, Overcoming Burnout and Time Management. So, uh, I brought Jen on to talk about the end of the school year. It is winding down for pretty much all of us. I know some places they end in June. I will pray for you all. But for many of us, we'll be out of here in a couple of weeks. At least for me, the 24th is graduation. So that's like, okay, once everybody graduate, because we have to be at graduation, then it's pretty much over. So the 24th is the day for me, even though we'll have finals and kids will be getting out early and blah, blah, blah. But end of the year, it's a big time because a lot of people are kind of coming to the end of their rope. They're just barely holding on. They're trying to figure it out. They're trying to get all their paperwork in. They're trying to kind of get things squared away so they can go and enjoy their summer. Uh, Jen, I'll ask this question as we get started. What do you remember most about the end of the year? Just flashback to those moments. What I guess grabs your attention when you think back on those times?
I remember the end of the year just being joyous.
Mm,
It wasn't, of course, we were excited, me, other teachers, students, but I just remember it being like a really relaxed vibe, but also held, we had activities and things that we would do that
hmm
would still hold value. And they were things that were important to the students themselves. And then we had to ensure these final exams were no joke and taken very seriously. But overall, it was chill. It was great.
Uh, it is a lot of fun, but it's always kind of bittersweet for me. I think I may be in the minority because I do really enjoy where I work. So that is all coming to an end. And now, what are my days going to look like in the summertime? Because I really do look forward to going to school each day. I know that is
I love
almost
that.
a shame to say. Like everybody's like, "Oh no, I can't wait to get to the summertime." How dare you? But I really enjoy going to school. I want to say hanging out with my kids. Like we have work to do, but I really do enjoy being around the people that I'm with. And so end of the school year is always a little bit tough for me. A little bit. But I do get over it because I have stuff to do in the summertime and I do have fun.
Right,
So
right. You might want to consider moving to Poland. I hear that they have school. There's no summer breaks. They do not have
hmm.
winter breaks and things of that nature, supposedly. I haven't Googled it, nor have I asked my Polish friend yet, but it's in the plan. I'll get back to you on that. But that might be for you.
Poland's too cold. My wife would never go for that.
I wouldn't either. Right.
So we have you all here to try to give you some tips some best practices as the year comes to a close. And we've divided this up. We've divided this into three sections. So the first part is make a plan. It's very important to set realistic goals. So this is going to help teachers achieve what they need to do by the time their time runs out. So the remainder of the school year, you need to break down your larger tasks into smaller, manageable steps to prevent yourself from being overwhelmed.
One thing you can do to help that some teachers overlook is to allow your kids to help you. And I'm talking about other tasks that you need to do towards the end of the year, which is potentially, filing, cleaning things out, organizing certain areas, this and that. There's always something. I mean, you accumulate so much by the end of the year. But this helps them keep them busy during their extra time, because oftentimes there's extra time at the end of the year, right? So,
There will be.
and all they want to do is help you, work for you. That's fun for them. And we don't really have the time for that. And
Getting the
it
kids to
depends
help
on
is
your
great.
grade too. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
if we
definitely.
teach high school, but think about a first grade classroom and those younger kids, all of those art projects, all of those things. And
I would prefer not to think about a first grade classroom.
can I ask you a
I can
question?
imagine. Sure.
It's a little off topic for a second, but you should know me by now. When you went for your teaching degree, what did you actually want to teach? Because I know you teach speech, but I'm just curious because I wanted to teach second grade, and clearly I ended up with high school, which I loved.
Mm, I wanted to teach English initially because I didn't want to teach math, I didn't want to
Hmm.
teach social studies, and I didn't want to teach science. So,
That's so funny. Me too. Well, first I wanted to teach second grade, and then I realized from interning, no, no, no. Then I went to sixth grade, and then I ended up sticking with seventh grade and eighth to start. But it was English because math is not for me, science is not for me, social studies, none of that.
yeah,
So
I
you're good
never
at
even
English.
considered electives.
I know. I didn't either. I should have. It
I
worked
ended
out.
up in speech class, which is an elective. Um,
Mm,
I did consider myself a good writer. Um, and there's so much more room for interpretation when it comes to English. So we can have
yeah.
more fun, I would say. But as I've been in these classrooms and have seen some of these kids writing, I'm like, yeah, I think I'm solid. I wouldn't consider myself this really good writer though. Not anymore. I don't pay enough attention to like the academic detail of writing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know. And I'm saying I know because of me. Because I thought I was quite good at reading and writing until I then had to teach ELA. Not had to, I wanted to. And I realized when it was time to teach them how to write an essay, well, how exactly do you write an essay?
Right.
I mean, what is the actual formula that I should be teaching? Yeah,
A lot of nuts and bolts there.
right.
Um,
That's interesting, though.
Good thing to do is seek support, when we don't know how to do stuff. And a lot of times at the end of the year, that is something that happens where, especially when you have new
Yeah.
teachers, I got a couple of new teachers on my team and people that are new to the campus. So that just means they may know how to do certain stuff, but they don't know how we do it where they are now. So it does take some getting used to, some learning, and the way to get that is to seek the support of the people around you, the people who've been hopefully helping you all year. Those people can be there to kind of help you make the plan and figure out what you need to do and when you need to do it.
Yeah, 100%. People have the answers all around you. and
Mm-hmm.
you don't need to figure out how to create the wheel, no recreating the wheel, right? And there is a way that your school does it over other schools, different expectations. You know, I forgot about the all the paperwork at the end until you mentioned it. Yep.
That paperwork's
You
always just hanging over your head. Like, I'm not going away. I'm still here.
right. I know.
So, the last part of making the plan is accepting the challenge because you're not going to be able to leave until the stuff is done, right? Until that last day happens. So, accepting the challenge helps us to get in a mental space, get some perspective on what we can do that will work best for us. And I think that is your expertise, Jen. So I'll kick it to you for our next section.
There you are. It's I like that it really is a different time of year that it's
Mm-hmm.
a different sort of self-care that you need for yourself, and it's a different you may require different support from family or your partner, but I will say that one of the things is enjoy
Mm,
these last days. I know that there's a lot of teachers who have tick marks
mm.
on their whiteboards or even on their door, 10 more days, 9 more days, 8 more days. And I'm not so sure that that's exciting personally because
I
I
don't like that
recall
either.
it actually makes me, I don't know how do I explain? It makes it feel like it's going longer. And
Mm,
I don't need to count down the days. Let's enjoy these days, because if I'm not enjoying these days and I'm just waiting for that last day, which it is exciting, that last day. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's exciting. But I need to have a mindset where I'm still present and here. Otherwise,
mm.
it's almost, comparative to dare I say prison. That's very
How
extreme.
dare you?
you know, it's very extreme, but it's just I don't think it's helpful, but that's just my opinion. I know that some teachers look at that differently. That's exciting and, it's celebratory. But for me, I just want to encourage students to be present as well and them not to have that psychological mind shift of, oh my gosh, another 9 days. Ugh, it's 9 days.
Yeah.
That's fun. Not like, oh gosh, that's so long.
It's
There's a
too
difference.
much going on to like try to worry about
Hmm.
tomorrow and count the days down. Like I have a plan, I have a scope and sequence, but I just I don't know. I'm just more it's more important to just today. Let's figure out today. Today has enough trouble.
Exactly. Exactly. Agreed.
So what's some other things that we can do to help plan our mindset for the end of the school year?
Take time for yourself.
Mm,
There, I we talked about there's often, maybe not in your class, but an accumulation of stuff in your class, and that's the same thing goes for your mind. This is where a lot of teachers are either completely checked out
mm.
or they are completely scrambled and overthinking and worried about next year, or there's so many different reasons. Some people may not even have a contract for next year. Others
Oh
don't know
yeah.
what classroom they'll be in, and they have to pack up and have the unknown of where they're going to be. I remember when I taught junior high, they decided to do it what they called a shake up, and all of a sudden, they decided next year the eighth grade teachers are going to teach seventh grade, and the seventh grade teachers are going to teach eighth grade. Most of them,
Ooh.
most of them. And they're also we're going to switch houses. They call them houses, which were like pods, basically. So not only did we have a different grade level, we had to also move. And the time it takes to
Mm-hmm.
move and redecorate, like, pull things down. I, mm-hmm. So it is a lot for some teachers. And so, like you said, take it day by day. Make a plan,
Mm-hmm.
chunk it, or, and then decide what fits into your schedule. But as much as you can do during the end of the school year, do that rather than starting your summer late,
Oh
and
yeah.
having to break down for the next 2 or 3 days and move, all of that, because most likely you're already probably going to have to come in early to move into your new classroom if that's what you have to
Mm.
do. But just anything that you can do on your downtime, which most teachers do have a little more downtime during the end of the school year. But so do that, fit it in, get it in.
I had to move rooms the last 2 years. So
Yes.
I think I was in my first room for 3 years. And then there was a shakeup of sorts where they
Mm-hmm.
were trying to move people around for whatever reason. And I got moved the next year. And it was literally the next hallway over. So it really wasn't that big of a deal. Still, you got to move rooms. You got to get your mind wrapped around a new space, and where are my power zones? Where am I gonna put my smart board? Where's my desk going? Right, some of these very practical things. Then that school year goes past, and I learned that I'm moving again. This time, my room wasn't ready yet because they were doing
Yeah.
some renovations.
Yep.
So I had to pack up my stuff, and I just had to like wait. And then the next school year rolls around, and like you said, yep, I had to move into my room. Those first, couple of days, and then sometimes kids are on campus, so they can help you move your stuff. So that's always good. It is a great opportunity to start throwing stuff away.
Agreed.
So, the first move, there was stuff from the last, I don't know how many teachers had been in that room. There were like VCR tapes. There were book stands, where you set the book down so that you can type. Just all kinds of old stuff in there.
Yeah.
So the first move was way worse than the second one because there was just so much junk I had to get rid of. It was so much stuff in the hallway. It was insane.
Mm.
But yes, yes, planning to move and get your stuff down and having help, especially from kids, that's a good way to give them some extra credit. If you're an extra credit teacher, I do not give extra credit. Don't even ask me. It's written on my board.
Good
Um,
for you.
but that's definitely a way to kind of plan out those last couple of days.
Imagine those teachers that don't have that contract and they're
Hmm.
interviewing, and it's unfortunate because where do you put your stuff? So you break it down, you take it home. If you have space, you have to clear the space for that. And then, you know, hopefully they'll have a place to go. But it's just so
Yeah,
many
and
moves. Mhm.
if you're a teacher out there, you don't have a job yet, or you're transitioning, so you don't know where you're going to be. I would just say, keep your head up. Um,
Yep.
when we talk about burnout all the time, what does it look like when you are checked out? What does it look like when you are anxious or stressed or even angry? If you're unsatisfied with where you are, what are those physical things that you can see or feel? Because sometimes it's just, it may be a tightening in your chest. Hopefully, you're not having a heart attack, but sometimes these things can manifest themselves physically. So, knowing what that looks like and feels like for you is going to be very important as you start to wind down your year and get things together to be able to move on to the next chapter. Can we celebrate for a minute? That's the last part because celebrating is extremely important. And I think it's only right that we start uh, with the students
Yeah.
because, we put in all of this work. They put in, theoretically, they also put in all of this work. And so recognizing what that looks like, if you can do it individually, more power to you. For me, that will look more like a discussion, like a reflection kind of discussion post, because I want them to kind of write out their ideas or write out their reflection so they kind of know what so they can look back at their semester and go, okay, well, I guess I did do some cool stuff. Did we achieve our goals? Because I have class goals for each class that we co construct together. So they can go, well, I did do this well, or I did start to recognize this is an area that I need to work on, things of that nature. So celebrating our kids is very important. Do you have any
Mm,
kind of specific ways that you used to celebrate your students?
yes. Yes. But first, you just got me thinking of something.
Ooh,
Ri- By the way, happy Teacher Appreciation Week to
oh
you,
yeah.
you know? But what about Student Appreciation Week after that? Wouldn't
Mm.
that be cool? We do
Appreciate
appreciate
students.
them. Yes,
I do enough appreciate
I knew you'd say it.
it.
It's like it's like when your kid says, "When's Kids Day?" You have Father's Day, this, and that. But it would be a good time for them to celebrate each other.
mm, hmm
What I used to do when I taught high school is I had the students on their first week of school write a letter to their future self for the end of the year. And I typically taught freshmen and also seniors. And on that last week of school, they would open it, and if they weren't there, I would mail it to them. They would put it in an envelope, sealed.
hmm
And that's a good way to see their progress simply by seeing where they were at the beginning of the year. Another thing to do after that would be to write another letter to themselves for later on. They can reflect on how far they've come based on that letter and what they remember,
hmm
and another projection into the future. Because without being conscious of just knowing how far you've come and
mm,
all the shifts that have taken place, there's just so much gray area. There's just so much celebrating to do,
right.
is what I mean.
I hope you all enjoyed that episode. It's always great having Jame on. As always, of course, before we get out of here, remember, number one, make a plan. The end of the school year is coming, whether you like it or not. Most of us like it, but you got to have a plan. Number two, you got to make sure you make up your mind. Mind your plan. Get in the right headspace to be able to execute the end of the year successfully. And number three, celebrate, celebrate, celebrate. Celebrate yourself, celebrate your colleagues, celebrate your kids. With that being said, that is our episode for today. Me and Jame will be back this Thursday for part 2, covering the 8 epic ideas to end the school year, one of which I am very keen on and will be doing in my own classroom. For more teacher tips on burnout and time management, join our Facebook group, Teacher Triumphs, Overcoming Burnout and Balancing Life. This is where we share applicable strategies and encourage each other on the journey through education. Until next time, keep teaching, keep learning, and I will see you all on the next journey.